Yeah, basically, yeah.
Let's go.
We can be your podcast. Would you listen if I asked you to listen? Would you subscribe and never look back? Would you share if you saw us begging? Would you make us famous tonight? Do you tremble when we touch your ears? Do you laugh? Oh, please tell us this. Now would you die from listening to the End of Everything podcast? We can be a podcast, baby. We can waste away your day, oh yeah. We will do this show forever. You can't take our mic away. That was pretty good.
That was god awful.
Do you think they're still watching?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Alright. Well, welcome to episode 12 of the End of Everything podcast. Backed by popular demand, the jingle, everyone.
Better than ever.
Oh yes, that took us far too long to come up with.
And it was still awful.
Hey, come on, we're getting there. You know, next week we'll be doing some sort of Celine Dion remix, probably.
Yeah, definitely. We could definitely involve our timing a little bit.
You reckon? No. We'll put it all on iTunes and stuff once we've put it through production.
Yeah. Maybe copyrighted by Enrique.
Oh, true. Oh, let's hope he doesn't find out.
No.
Okay, so for episode 12, you might have noticed it's just you and I. It's just going to be a little bit of a breakdown of our business is what we're going for. So you and I have been starting our own business for about 5 months, or we've been going full time with it.
Yeah, we've been doing it sort of like 2 years, right? Or going on 2 years.
Going on 2 years. And then about 5 months in full time. So we thought could be helpful, could be interesting to just go through our journey so far, basically, and the lessons we've learned in doing a lot of that stuff, of which there are many.
Yeah, like making amazing jingles for podcasts.
I mean, one of the biggest learnings.
Success.
One of the biggest learnings, I'd say. I mean, if there's anything to take away from this podcast, it's that.
When we write our first business book, that'll be chapter 1.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be one of those musical cards, like it'll just open with a jingle.
Fucking god awful jingle.
Composure, come on. With like UNT was started about 2 years ago. God, that's hard to believe.
Yeah.
And it was roughly about from when you came back from the UK.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, like, put myself back in that mind frame, like, why did we start?
Yeah, I don't know.
It was quite a bizarre thing, yeah. That was just sort of like, we both wanted to do it.
I think, I'd been talking with a few people about starting my own thing while you're away in the UK for those 2 years. And kind of exploring different options, because at the end of the day, the idea was rewarding to basically do your own thing and have more control over it. And I think when you got back, there was, you were like, oh, you were interested in starting your own thing. You necessarily didn't have any great career plan when you came back.
Yeah, I think actually, like, thinking back to when I was in London, I was, that was a reason why I left London, was because, like, not because I couldn't start my own business, but because you couldn't really set up things for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, it was very hard to do that in London, or I found it very hard to do that.
Yep.
Like, I started trying to make, like, jewellery and things like that, but it's just, like, life gets on top of you over there in a way that I find it didn't here, you know what I mean?
Yep. And it is that general feeling when you're in employment, we found, is just you start to question, what am I doing with my time? I feel like I'm giving so much of my time to someone else's dream. And the idea that we could, forge our own path, and I think just keep learning was another thing. So I think probably both of us felt like we were using skills that we were very comfortable with, and we kind of wanted to do something new, learn some new stuff, and have a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And like, that was a good time to do it as well, wasn't it? Like none of us were committed to anything else really at that stage. We were very like independent, I guess, and able to like commit our lives to it in a way.
Yeah, very little responsibility, no families that we know of.
Definitely.
So I mean, at the time, you got back from the UK. I was working at Weta. I was 2IC of the 3D department.
Yeah.
And I guess that's when I started to explore a little bit of the visualization stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So Weta Workshop was getting a lot into what they call LBEs, location-based experiences. So you're talking exhibitions, museum exhibitions, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was doing quite a bit of visualization for that, and that putting the exhibition into a program and doing a virtual tour of it before they engaged everyone on making it.
Yeah.
And I guess that kind of started the idea in combination with what you were doing in the UK.
Yeah, well, architecture in London. But I think also actually my dad my parents were in the process of building their house, and they were like struggling with visualizing it, but heaps of things they wanted to. I remember this specific example that jumps to mind was like the plugs in the wrong place. My dad was like, "Why did they put these plugs in the wrong place? Like, surely in this day and age we can think of a way to, like, make that right."
Yeah.
But I mean, so that's where we started at, where we were like, "Oh, we'll do like CADing on the fly."
So yeah, there was the problem there was okay, we're seeing that there's a lot of people, my parents for example too, like they had a lot of plans, or they could see the 2D plans for a lot of their houses, but they couldn't actually understand the space.
Yeah.
And so we're like, oh, there's a problem to solve, like the sort of stuff we've been doing at Weta, maybe this is what could help out there.
Yeah.
And that kind of started the whole idea.
Yeah. And I think like just looking back at it, like naively what we thought was going to be like the runaway idea, or considering neither of us had worked in visualization, and it's a whole field.
Or business.
And, we're like, oh yeah, we can do that. And it's just like, you get, because those people, foster apartments, they had a whole visualization department or departments, and like obviously they're experts. So I think looking back at it, I don't know what we were thinking really, it being like, oh yeah, this will be good, like it's can't be that hard, like we're surely better than everyone else at this. No. Apparently not. And like even like actually, it's funny enough to talk about like so our initial idea was like we were going to have a portable like desk that we would go on site.
I mean, we're using like VR and stuff, right? So the idea that, oh man, we've got this program, like we could sit in the person with. Sit in the house with, not ideally not. That was a different business plan. Sit in the person's house with them, and they go through how they like their lounge to be, and we can CAD it up as they go, and here it is.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's the first thing we need? I guess once we get, I've got a laptop, I've got a VR set.
Box.
We need a box. We need something to put it in.
And that's actually hilarious that that box is now actually our camera stand.
So for what you were viewing on, it is actually the first bit that Dreambox Studios bought.
Yeah, and it's so like fun. It's just so bizarre, isn't it?
We've literally opened it once.
The only thing that will stop us from being successful is a box.
So we spent like, what was it, 300 bucks on this travel case box to take all these hypothetical products or business ideas to like, okay, well we're gonna need that. Let's get started.
Yeah.
So and that was slightly jumping the gun, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's like the first lesson, isn't it? Is that you want to test out your ideas before buying, or with doing the least amount of investment in terms of time and money to like clarify those ideas, services, if they're actually going to be good or not.
And I think, the temptation is, or at least was for us, but you see it at university or in all these other places, is this temptation to cultivate this idea.
Yeah.
To just, okay, yes, no, and we could do this, and here's the little pricing plan, or just want to tweak that.
Yeah.
Instead of just getting it out there and showing people and getting instant feedback.
Exactly.
So it's like, because I mean, it's scary. It's scary to put out your ideas and risk
someone shitting on them. Which has happened
and
so many fucking times.
We're used to that now.
So used to
but yeah, like, it's always that thing like, oh, let's just, spend a week on it and like tinker away instead
months.
of or months. Or just, show someone like, hey, I've got this idea. What do you think? Oh, it's rubbish. Well, that saved me 3 months.
Yeah, I think especially from our perspective as like designers and like problem solve. Oh, not problem solvers, but like working in. Here's the problem. Let's fix it. So we're like very, very much like about like making the great product or service, but not so much about like finding out whether or not people want it.
Yeah.
And like so, at that stage where we were just sort of mucking around with ideas.
We were targeting group homes. Is the other thing. So we were targeting. We're thinking group homes being places like Jenny Homes, GJ Gardner, those sort of places. They're making hundreds of homes a year. It's like surely. I doubt they have anything like this at the moment. Maybe we can help them out. Yeah, and we tried for a long. Our first year while we were working at Weta. That's pretty much
was based
down that avenue, trying to get in there and have the perfect product for them. But yeah, it didn't really.
Well, I think especially like that's research is part of it as well as like trying to make a product for an industry that you obviously don't understand. I mean, that's another mistake, or not mistake of ours, but maybe made it harder for us. The fact that we were trying to design services for industries that we don't really we've never worked in. Or architecture a little bit I've worked in, but not extensively, and group homes.
Not building and construction.
Yeah, exactly.
It's completely out of our experience.
So like to go to them with like, oh, here's we're gonna let you all like people like model up their own perfect house. They can be like, well, we don't want people to make their own perfect. We want them to buy the house that we've designed for them.
Yeah, anything that we change or give them options to wastes our time
and money.
They're coming to us because they want a bargain solution.
Yeah.
Not because they want every fitting and shower head customizable. Yeah.
Exactly. So we went out to some pretty. Yeah, there's particularly the group home that we went to a couple of times, and the guy, fair play to him, he didn't hold it back on us.
No, he did not.
It was like, this is garbage.
that was a quiet trip home, wasn't it?
We were just like, and then we went back out, and 6 months later again, we're like, we're gonna nail it this time, baby. And then we go out there. No. It's like, shit.
He's like, come with me. Look, this is what we do. Like, oh. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We can do some nice images. And then he shows us his and it's like, no, God, just so much better, weren't they? They were amazing photorealistic ones.
Yeah, well, some of them were for sure. So yeah, a lot of it came into understanding the industry first.
Have you even framed what our business is? For people who haven't listened, I mean, everyone is going to know, but
surely everyone knows. No, you're right. So we're actually still terrible at explaining it, really. But we are a digital visualization firm. So we're currently sort of targeted more towards architects and developers. But basically, we help those companies sell their buildings or property off the plans. So if the building doesn't yet exist, say it's a large apartment block or just a modest home, we create images using 3D software of what it's going to look like inside and out. So that the real estate agent or whoever it might be can go around and say, this is what it's going to look like. Buy it now, trust us, it's going to be great. See you here. So we're the ones who make those marketing images, or it might be for something such as resource consent. So when a city council needs to see how a specific building is going to change the look of that area, or if it's going to fit in with the neighbouring buildings, then we give images to say, trust us, it's going to look great.
Yeah.
Here's why. That's where we've sort of found our niche, I suppose.
Yeah.
But and we started doing all sorts of stuff, didn't we?
Yeah, we were doing a lot of VR stuff originally, weren't we? And using a lot of Unreal Engine, which was a great learning experience, and it's a really powerful piece of software, but it's very technical. And for people like for us, we didn't really have any idea. And I think the great thing was that we do have a good, we know how to 3D model, and we've worked in a lot of different programs, so we are quite capable of jumping into new softwares and kind of figuring it out, which is great. But Unreal was tricky.
Yeah.
And I think the VR, we overestimated that VR is amazing kind of thing. That was going to be our sort of selling point.
Yep.
But actually, that's another thing that things can sound great, but then until you go out there and test it with people and see how they actually respond to it, most people don't really respond that well to VR actually, because it is quite uncomfortable and alien, especially to a different older generations than us.
And like anyone who's used it before will kind of understand this. If you're putting on a VR headset and you're immersed into whatever virtual environment it may be, you can feel like a bit of a dickhead because there's a row of people likely just looking at you, floundering around, fossicking in the corner.
Yeah.
And you feel really self-conscious like that. And for people who have very little interaction with that kind of digital stuff, it can be really unsettling and even give you motion sickness.
Yeah.
So VR is a great sort of buzzword.
Yeah.
And it's cool to have attached to your brand, but it's not actually that practical.
No, you need to have some sort of core service or product which is, valuable.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just sort of be like, oh, it does VR. It's like, well, yeah. But is what is in the VR actually of any interest or value to anyone?
Yeah, that's the thing. And so we kind of refined, again, kind of listening to people like, oh, what are the problems they have? What do they actually want? And we whittled that down to actually people just want images.
Yeah.
Or
a lot of, I mean, that's there's a whole industry around architectural visualization, and that's what people expect and what people want, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So we thought that was a good place to start, didn't we?
Yep.
And, I think we definitely fell into the trap, potentially. I feel like it's a trap of the imitation games kind of thing, isn't it?
Well, I think we're two product designers with no business experience. I think for the last 2 years, we've basically been learning how to be a business and fit in the business world.
Yeah.
So we started doing these images and we started looking at the websites of our competitors.
Yeah.
And trying to match or beat their prices and things like that. Funnily enough, I mean, we've been getting clients and it's been going reasonably well, but it's slow going. Mostly because those same clients are being approached by companies very similar to us.
Yeah.
And our only point of difference is that we're local. We're here in New Zealand as opposed to them who might be overseas in Abu Dhabi or wherever it might be.
Yeah, well, I think that's another point to point out, isn't it? That our industry, I mean, every industry is subject to, globalization on some levels, but, your builder, plumber, etc. needs to be local for you to be able to do that. But for us, it's, it's all digital, so as long as you can communicate the idea to someone else overseas, you can get them to do it. And obviously the price of living in other parts of the world is far less than it is in New Zealand, one of the most expensive countries in the world to live in. So the cost of us doing things is very high. So it's when we don't have a brand or a name, what makes us different to any other company around the world, it's hard to like you say, distinguish yourself from the crowd. And
I suppose this is why we also started doing this kind of business, is that we could all we needed was 2 laptops. We didn't need a CNC machine, a workshop, a serious office, or we didn't even need that many people. All you need is a couple of decent computers and you can do anything. However, you are then competing on the global market instead of the local one.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is something we didn't immediately consider.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess we'd kind of gone into the slipstream of visualization studios, and then it's only recently that we have realized, we've again, I think
it's funny to say because like we are just weekly changing and learning and evolving, so it'll actually be interesting to listen to this in a month or two's time, because we're actually going to have now a record of what our mind is like now. But at the moment we feel like we want to try and differentiate ourselves from the crowd a little bit and do something a bit better better, unique.
I think it's almost been our biggest advantage and disadvantage is that we know we are completely ignorant when it comes to business, so we've been asking the help of all sorts of people. We have a couple of business mentors, some really good contacts and marketing experts, and the best money we've ever spent is on our accountant slash business advisor. As a lot of these accountancy firms are going, is that they're starting to give a lot of business advice. which we needed desperately. You
So,
know,
yeah, I remember actually like in our first meeting with him, or maybe our second meeting, it was like, so what do you guys know about business? And we're like, oh, we did like a course in university 5 years ago for like a couple of months.
Yeah.
And he's like, cool. So you read any books? And we're like,
no. Books, no. Yeah,
nah, but we're real good at Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, you're an idiot.
Well,
no,
there's
it's like you're so naive, you know.
And there's certain arrogance there too. I think like whether it's a generational thing or a designer thing or whatever it might be, but it's like, oh, we can do this. There's so many other people out there who have done this.
Yeah.
Why can't we?
Yeah.
And why can't we do it better? You know, it's almost like we know best in a lot of ways. I mean, I don't think we're too much like that. But maybe
it's, I think also it's like you're not aware of the problem until you can, like when you're, you know, if you're just, you know, an employee, as well as a contractor even, it's just like you're not aware of what, if someone's like, oh, I'm around business, you don't know what that all involves and everything until you have to learn those things or even become aware of them. You're like, oh, this is a whole other world that I just didn't even know existed, or I didn't think was that important or whatever, and then you'd go, oh shit, there's so much.
And I mean, absolutely. Like, and things like marketing, sales, you know,
operations.
These are all meaningless words until you really are facing those problems yourself. You know, like I think we were, because I mean, after our accountant's advice, you know, we were reading a lot of books.
Yeah.
Talking to a lot of people, just slowly getting the lay of the land about what it means to make a business. But there's a lot of things you read that and you're just like, this, okay, cool.
Yeah, sounds good.
But I don't or you'd say it, you'd write it down, but then you'd be like, I don't really see the relevance, you know.
Yeah.
And it might be 2 months later after you've gone through that, failed 3 times, and you're like, that saying makes sense now.
Yeah.
Like, I get it.
And I think that's, you know, I mean, obviously this is going to be a never-ending path, you know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be more to learn, and like, you know, we are barely touching the tip of it, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's like just starting to, you know, learn a little bit of like, you know, feeling where the edges of it are potentially,
Mm-hmm.
but, you know, every time you feel like you know everything, then there's like, you know, employing people, that's a whole nother level of business that we have no ideas about. Investing, you know, every stage has new levels of where you're just like, oh, I know nothing.
Yep.
So, you know, we're at ground zero.
Well, and that's why there's experts in this thing.
Yeah.
You know, you realize very quickly that as a small business owner, you have to become a jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
Because you simply don't have time to become a master of anything. And like you and I are rapidly running out of time to do the actual work. You know, and it's, you know, that most of our day is filled up with all the other aspects,
and
prospecting, marketing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you know, so I mean, we're trying to fulfill all assets of a small business, or aspects rather. And it's you run out of time. You can definitely see why there are experts, there are marketers, there are, you know, because it's such a deep pool of learning.
Yeah, and I think as well, like you know, especially in the world that we live in at the moment, you can be I feel very overwhelmed by overwhelmed by the content and the tools and, you know, everything. And actually, like, I think we still, you know, obviously we're still struggling with that, and I think a lot of people do. It's like knowing which bits of advice are valuable and you should actually pay attention to and try and implement, which things you shouldn't, which tools are important. So like, to apply that to social media, like, you know, there's 20 different social medias that everyone, you know, like Gary Vee, who's a marketing guy who's popular online or whatever, like, he's like, you can get on everything. And it's like, well, if I'm a small business and I'm trying to run a business, like, you can't get on everything, you know, you've got to get on 1 or 2, and then how much time you put into it, you know, what's your bang for your buck, but that, like, mentality applies to everything, you know.
And I think early on you don't know who you are as a business or a personal brand, so it's, I mean, you will hear from someone that Facebook is the best and the most responsive social media to be on, like that has to be your focus. LinkedIn isn't so big in New Zealand, whatever it might be, and then you realize down the track it's like, but we're selling business to business. Facebook is, you know, business to consumer.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, no, we shouldn't be on Facebook.
And also, it's like, unless you know what your like message is or what you're trying to actually market and what you're trying to do, you know, it's like all these old school marketing, you know, techniques and, you know, yeah, everything still, like the theory still applies. It's just a different platform to project it. So if your message is muddy, and, you know, we still struggle with that a lot, and we're going to, you know, struggle with that moving forwards, you know, but it's interesting that, you know, when you start, you're just like, quick, I've got to post something on Facebook. And like, that's literally what I thought. Like, you know, 18 months ago, it was like, if we get 2,000 Instagram followers, like, we're a successful business or whatever. Like,
sure, yeah.
People care about what we're doing, but it's just like, well, some people do, but are they going to buy anything off you? Like,
is it actually going to give you any money?
And like, I think, especially again, in the world, it's like, it's all about numbers and, you know, like metrics and analytics, but sometimes the numbers don't really tell you how, you know, the important things, which is like, are the right people listening to what you're saying, and are they getting the right message that you're trying to tell them?
And it's, I suppose there was, this new age thinking with all the social media and things like that. And there was the old school methodology, you know, which was basically picking up the phone and calling the phone book.
Yeah.
You know, and like that was, I mean, there's something very attractive about just putting out content on social media, because you don't actually have to interact with anyone. You don't have to, you can again culture those ideas away at home, and then just kind of send out little bits. You don't actually have to confront with any of them, and the thing is, you don't actually get faced with rejection.
Yeah.
Like you I mean, it's just, if something just doesn't have that many likes, or some content doesn't have that many views, it doesn't feel like rejection. You know, it just feels like perhaps the right people didn't see it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's, I mean, at scale, I feel like social media is a good litmus test or whatever. So, you know, if you're getting thousands of, but for us, you know, whatever, like 20 people or 30 people listen to this, or, you know, however many people listen to this, is not enough sample size to be like, this is what people want. So, calling people was great, because, you know, we went through a whole process of calling a lot of people and just saying what we're doing and if they were interested, and it was horrible and it's not fun. I mean, but you actually, like, the fact is that you're not just getting, if you send an email to someone, they don't reply, you learn nothing. But if you call them, they say, oh, we actually don't do that because we do this and this and this.
Or they might say, we have nothing to do with visualization, thanks, please don't call here again.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that stings for like 5 seconds. You're like, oh, okay, sorry. You know, but you've learned something right away. Yeah. It's like, okay, so, I mean, Ewan and I basically set up a bit of a spreadsheet, because at that point we were going like, okay, we actually don't know who our main industry is going to be. Our core service is that we can visualize stuff that hasn't been made yet.
Yeah.
You know, to visualize things to show people what it'll be like when it's created.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that could apply to interior designers who are refitting rooms. That could apply to jewelry designers, of which quite a few people do that already. It could apply to engineering firms, architects, furniture design. So our plan at that point, this is 2 months or 3 months ago, it was essentially to probe all these industries, just start calling them, start putting on a spreadsheet, if with a little note saying keen, not keen, maybe, that sort of thing. And very quickly you get an idea that furniture designers, they're not ready for this kind of technology. Yeah. Interior designers, there's interest there, but again, they're not ready.
Yeah.
Architects, they've actually been engaging in this stuff for quite a while. They're aware it exists.
But it's super competitive.
But it's highly competitive. So that very quickly gave us a lay of the land, that we couldn't have got elsewhere.
And we should have done that years ago.
And we convinced ourselves out of it for, whatever it was, a year. Yeah. Because it's scary.
Yeah. It's bizarre, right? But
hindsight is a beautiful thing. But I suppose where we are now is that, we feel like we're a visualization studio. We feel like we have got our heads around it a little bit. And now we're like, okay, now we need to get more clients. We need to get the word out there more.
And also like add a bit of us back into our brand, I think
that was when we're like, how do we, the question you will always get asked from any marketer or business person is, how are you different?
Yeah.
That'll be one of their first
USP,
questions. Yeah.
Unique selling point.
Ooh.
Marketing lingo.
You are learning. God, you note that down. But
not USB.
No, that is different. Yeah, it is different.
Something. Sticky
button. Yeah, that's it, I think. Our sticky button. Yeah.
That's OSB.
Oh, still learning, like I said. But what was I gonna say? Okay. So we're talking. We're talking to. How are you different? And it was a question that always stumped us. And we're starting to actually answer that question now, but we're like, we're different because we give a personal service, or we give, we listen to all your needs where other businesses can't. We talk English as a first language, and when it comes down to it, it's just not a very marketable difference. Sure, it works for cold calling and when you're calling local people. But if you imagine us giving a little video of ourselves and our portfolio to a marketer who's going to send it around the world through his network, what's that going to be say? What's the catch? What's the hook? It's like, these guys are
nice
and talk good. It's like, whoa, I'm blown away. I'm going to check these guys out. No, of course you're not. So now that we feel like we are a visualization firm, now we actually have to distinguish ourselves and build on this brand.
Yeah, that's what we're working with at the moment, isn't it? That's what we're up to now. But I think it's funny, isn't it? It's like I wonder if other people, because I think obviously everyone's business journey is going to be unique and different, and I wonder if everyone gets to a different point. I'm sure some people do things and then like start making some money at it. And like, how can we build a business around this? But then like we kind of are the other way. We're like, let's do a thing and then that will make hopefully make money or whatever. Yeah. It's like that kind of like a builder or someone. Yeah, it's different, but it's like.
Well, I mean, a good example was there's a kid who he might be 22 by now, but I think he was just a tradie, a builder, and he realised that there was a lot of older people out there who struggled to put together kit set furniture. So he he bought his own tools, just went around his local network, started putting together their kit set furniture for a few $100. Then he got another guy to hire another guy, and then it just kind of turned into a full business that way. So it's like they started doing the work, they had the clientele, then they just needed to form the business around it.
Yeah.
Whereas we have left work in the idea of starting a business. We're like, cool, what do we do?
Yeah, let's do something.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing is like, for a long time, like the barrier to entry for like me doing something was like, I need to think of a good idea or whatever. But I think that's the lie that, that doesn't exist. There's no idea that you're like, oh, whoa, this idea is so good that it's just going to be like easy to make money now. I think every idea, like that guy would have for sure he probably went through different iterations of figuring stuff out. And, it probably sounds real simple, anecdotal, like, just put together furniture, easy. But, it really, I imagine it was not that easy. It's like, he probably went through a whole bunch of trials and tribulations trying to figure out how that would work.
Yeah.
So things sound simple in hindsight, basically, is kind of what I'm trying to say.
And it's, always conscious of that when talking to people about the business, because it's always going to sound a lot more concise and like a straight and narrow journey when you're talking to them, like, first we were doing this, now we're focusing on marketing and building our brand. It's like, it's been chaos for the last 4 months.
But even before that, even longer, while we were still wet, it was still just chaos, but, it didn't really affect you because you were getting paid anyway, so it didn't really matter how
and
chaotic it was, you know.
And every week we would have this new idea, like, no, this is where we should put our efforts, and like, oh, we need to learn this program, and oh no, like, oh, no one wants it, and you keep making the same mistakes again until you learn. And you know, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, you and I had a real bad week as far as, like, I'm not sure what this, you know, how do we be different, and it was getting us really down, and I mean,
we cried for hours.
Held each other. I mean, that was sweet. Probably sang that song.
We cried in the rain.
And it's been incredibly. It is that kind of once
on the road, it's like
Shawshank Redemption. We talked about. But yeah, it is that one step back, a 2 step forward, 1 step back thing, isn't it? Like you do make progress. On when you look at more holistically, so when you look at over 4 months, I was like, oh yeah, these guys, you know, and as our friends have commented, like, you guys are making progress, like, it's obvious you guys are building the business, but to us in it feels like we are, I don't know, throwing out all these pebbles and stuff. We're just trying to like align them, like, oh man, this is crazy, but you know, somehow something's coalescing out of it.
And I really wonder, like, how that if other people have a similar experience, or we're just doing it a retarded way. We could be giving. I mean, we hope people would find this useful, but we could just be giving the point of view of two idiots.
And don't listen to a word they say, because other people probably approach this a lot more smarter than we.
Yeah, they're just like, oh no, it's way easier now. What the fuck are you playing at? Yeah, no, I think
I think everyone's business journey is going to be different. It's just. It's definitely going to be hard.
Yeah.
There's going to be ongoing challenges. Things that you thought would take 1 month will probably take 5.
Yeah.
And the whole timeline of business in general seems to extend in a way, and that we will talk to someone who's really keen, and they'll say, oh yeah, no, great, I'll get those images, but it might be 2 months before we hear from them again, and then when you talk to them, it's something like, oh, hey guys, no, thanks for getting back in touch, just from the other week. It's like, that was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But people are just so busy.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you're starting out, you know, we're changing our ideas every day.
Yeah.
But when you're in the business world, everyone is just so busy that, and especially those larger companies, they just move so slow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like they plan, you know, years, 5 years, 10 years in advance, because they know what they've got a history of success, and they know that they've got data, and they know that this is the thing that people want, so they can continue to do it. But we're still very much in the stage of, you know, we're refinement. Let's call it that. You know, the refinement stage. We feel like we've got something. We just need to, you know, make it more concise and hone it down. But you know, you're so right. Like, people can get back in touch with us like a year ago, and it's like, oh, we don't even do that anymore, really.
Yeah, I mean, one of our clients got back in touch, said, oh, hey, I've got this pricing list of what you sent us last time we were talking. I was like, oh man, that is really old. Like, that was no, we were morons back then. No, ignore that. No, we're smart now. Like, give us 3 times as much money. It's you forget. Like, I mean, because it is just 2 of us in a room iterating every day. You forget how busy everyone else is in their lives, and you know,
for sure.
So our timeline is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. I hope that's semi-useful.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just like a man rambling about all the sorts of problems that we've had.
It's a venting session.
Yeah, maybe. But as I said, I think even if no one else listens to it, it'll be interesting to us. If we listen to it in 2 months' time.
Yeah, but I guess it's just... wanted to get across is that it is chaos for us, and what we're telling you is... it's always going to sound more refined than what it truly is, and it's a confusing time, but you do make progress over a longer
I think as well, like with the other thing is with it being two of us, it's like a really great thing that has worked really well. Like I would have never been able to do it by myself. And I wonder, I think it takes a special someone to be able to do it by themselves. Basically,
you really do. You do get an appreciation for those guys who just go out on their own and build their own business from the ground up. Like, I think you and I don't have that ambition alone. To build something like that. I think
drive, right? It's just like drive. I mean, like saying those dark days or whatever. Like a couple of weeks ago, like fuck if you're by yourself, you'd be like, yeah, fuck this.
Yeah. It's not really asked for this shit. I'm going back to employment.
Yeah, you really would do feel like that.
I think it's the work ethic as well. Like, I think you do. It would be easier to convince yourself, like, I'm just going to have the afternoon off.
Yeah.
I really can't be asked doing anything more. But then it's seeing the person across from you working, ticking away, and you're like, oh, okay, no, get back into it.
Yeah, keep going.
So I think that's helped a lot, and I think consistency has been our best friend.
Yeah.
In a lot of regards, like what we've learned is that, and this might be a generational thing too, is that you will not see validation for your ideas immediately. Like I said, because the business world is slower, you'll be putting something out there, like a podcast, for example, and then the podcast, you put it out there and it gets 13 views, and you're like, oh, okay. It'd be quite easy to just say, that's obviously not working. Let's just stop doing that. But it's having the kind of the foresight to realize that you just need to be consistent over time. And if we can just keep building these ideas, these brand, whatever it might be, keep building it, keep doing it, then eventually people are going to be like, oh, I've seen that quite a bit, floating around quite a bit. Like, oh, is that still going? Oh, maybe I'll give this a listen.
Yeah, what's the guy that thing we went to the other day where he was saying like most people buy after need to see your product like 7 to 10 times before they purchase it or something like that, which is quite mad. Because the same with social media, just like, oh, I'll put up this post once. No one's bought what?
This must be a terrible idea.
Yeah, literally, it's like, that's literally how I would feel about it.
Yeah.
And clearly that's not it.
Yeah, and you just need to get data over a long period of time and
be relevant. That's what my friends have said. Just stay relevant. There's length is strength is another marketing term. So it's just, even if what you're putting out is garbage, the fact there's a lot of it makes people go, oh, that's a lot of garbage.
Yeah. Oh, they must be doing something right.
There must be some.
And we've seen it too. We've seen some of the people on LinkedIn who are constant posters, but what they're posting is how is this relevant to their business? How have they got 7 times as many views than us?
Yeah. I went for a bike ride with my dog.
Yeah, it's
7,000 views.
It's
who cares? Again, who cares about this? Maybe no one.
What a note to leave on. No. But yeah, we're getting it. So it'll be interesting to do perhaps another update in perhaps 6 months or something.
Yeah, that would be good though. That could be quite cool.
And just to see where we are from this. We give and take clips from it.
Yeah, listen back to us. It's oh god.
We'll be huge successes, buddy. I wouldn't worry.
We'll be sitting in big golden thrones.
Yeah, or we just hire people to take our places.
People fanning us with big palms, like Egyptian gods.
Or we could just hire doubles, so we're not even here. We're just people that look like us, probably better looking than us. Yeah.
Just dumb it in.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. We don't know who we're going to have on next week, but we've had quite a few people who are really keen to get on. All of them are fascinating.
Yeah. But if anyone else is keen, just hit us up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Feel free to comment on whatever or email us or something.
Yeah.
You can find our email address.
Yeah.
I'll let mystery, that can be like a little treasure hunt.
Oh, you tease. Anyway, alright, have a good week, guys.
Bye.